A man who was a tour guide in Africa, who appeared on a video a few years ago, suggested that the enslaved people taken to Jamaica were the troublesome ones. In other words, they created the most problems for plantation owners. However, we can look at this from a different perspective. These enslaved people were more passionate about their rights and freedom and willing to risk it all for future generations. After emancipation, this passion for equality and justice did not stop. The Learning Journey, in association with Turn It Up Tuesday, hosted by Ross Audio, presents Did You Know? This week we'll explore riots in Jamaica from the middle of the 1800s to the middle of the 1900s. Now back to the foundation of unrest in Jamaica. When I was a boy, I heard about riots, gas riots, and riots because of alleged killing of innocent people. In riots, old tires burn or bun, and stones find their way in the middle of the road. Trees are chopped down and main roads are blocked, and tourists, regardless of where you're from, cannot find the airport to reach their homes. What a crisis. However, riots did not start the other day. This form of protest and resistance are connected to our ancestors and their struggle for freedom and justice. Hence, in Jamaica, social tension and discontentment will trigger riots. If you don't have water, riots. If the road is rough, riot. The reality is riots have been a part of Jamaica since the colonized period and continues to plague the Jamaican society. This presentation, as stated before, will give an overview of these riots. The information shared has been obtained from newspaper articles. I encourage you to subscribe to this channel to learn and travel along with me on the learning journey. There were so many riots between the 1850s and the 1930s. I had to be very selective. I will begin with the toll gates riots. 1859, our ancestors engaged in the toll riots in Westmoreland. The issue with these toll roads is that the users had to pay for every wheel, horse, mule, cattle, hornstock that used it. If you had a jackass, you'd still have to pay. You also had to pay for the sheep, goat, pigs to use it. It was a time when there was increased taxation on the poor ex-slaves. So what did the passionate ex-slaves do? They destroyed the toll keepers' residence and toll gates in Westmoreland and the surrounding areas. This protest led to the abolition of tolls. The police at that time, they were powerless. However, what the ancestors fought against would be implemented by various political leaders. Yes, it's easy to travel from Kingston to Montego Bay, but there's a cost, and many Jamaicans are left wondering if they can afford to travel on these toll roads based on the cost. A significant riot classified as a rebellion took place in Jamaica after emancipation. It created a foundation for another stage of resistance to foreign power in Jamaica, and that was called the Morant Bay Rebellion that took place in October of 1865. The protesters were aimed at showcasing the injustices and widespread poverty in Jamaica. 22 civilians perished, including the custos and volunteers. 34 individuals were wounded. But the sad part of the story is that under martial law, 439 people were put to death or executed, including George William Gordon and Paul Bogle. They are now considered national heroes of Jamaica. Building a society in the world is not easy, and Jamaica had its problems. We had the Chinese riots and so forth. And black soldiers in Jamaica had to make their voices known to those who were white. One incident took place in February of 1894. One white soldier who arrived in Jamaica went down to the black designated space to have a drink. He ordered his drink and refused to pay. As he was about to leave, another white officer asked him what he was doing in the black designated area. The waiter, realizing the white officer was about to leave without paying, stopped him, and the fight ensued, and of course, the white officer received a cut over his forehead. On seeing this, white soldiers joined the tussle, and of course, the fellow black soldiers joined in. At the end of the riot, one soldier was stabbed with a table knife. There were, of course, some broken bones and hurt pride. In St. Mary, in June of 1899, there was a riot caused by the ejection proceedings against a set of tenants. They wanted to stay on the land, but the owners decided otherwise. The owners opened fire on those actively participating in the protest, which had deadly consequences. The sad issue is that the reporter who wrote this article only focused on the banana production and not the lives of the oppressed Jamaicans. In Jamaica today, do we have similar situations taking place? On April the 8th, 1902, the friendly city of Montego Bay had a severe unrest. The situation came about as a result of a drunken sailor who was arrested, and during his arrest, it is believed that he was badly treated by the arresting constable. After the sailor was released, the policeman was beaten by a mob, and this mob took control over the town. As a result, soldiers from Kingston had to be sent down. Now, today, do we have soldiers and policemen coming from Kingston to Montego Bay? Think about that. In May of 1938, police opened fire on a crowd of sugarcane protesters on the Tate and Lyle estate in Westmoreland, killing at least 3 strikers. The strikers were demanding higher wages and improvement in their working conditions. This is so sad. The passionate and angry protesters set cane fields on fire, while some engaged in looting. In many of these riots, there seemed to be a movement to transform Jamaica using the population's passion. And this could lead to various riots connected to political and social disturbance in Jamaica and the Caribbean, of course. Today we hear the phrases, "we want justice," and police brutality. Today on the Rock, which many call Jamaica, there continues to be the blocking of roads, demonstration, and burning of tires to protest various social issues. Today there is complaints about political corruption and the allocation of scarce benefits and spoils. It seems as if we continue to struggle for equality and social justice. However, this time, it is not the colonizers but our leaders. As stated by Pablo Freire, a world-renowned educator, the oppressed are now the oppressors. My questions to you are, what can be done to improve our present context in Jamaica and the Caribbean? Will this form of protest continue to the next generation? And what can be done to build a more harmonious Jamaica? And finally, is rioting the best way for protesting? Over to you, Rossi.